Hello everyone, this is Joe from Scarecrow Joe's Studio. Happy New Year 2022. What will the year bring? Well, if you're watching this tutorial, it's going to bring at least one troll. Not the social media trolls, fantasy trolls. Although I suppose some social media trolls live in their old fantasy land. Anyway, enough of that. Let's run down the tools and materials that you're going to need for the first part of this project. And I'm going to, as usual, get really in depth. This is going to be an intermediate tutorial for paper mache using the various techniques that I have learned over the years. And so, of course, I'm going to break them up into segments, bite-sized little pieces for you, so that you can follow along at your own pace, of course. So let's get started. Okay, tools and materials needed for this tutorial are: you're going to need some masking tape, you will need a hot glue gun and glue sticks, you'll need some sort of blade. I have like a box cutter here. You can use a serrated steak knife if you want. You'll need some scissors, a marker. I have a black Sharpie, and you'll need a couple of pens. You'll need a cardboard tube. You'll need some paper mache paste, and this is just flour and water mixed to a pancake batter type consistency, a thin pancake batter. Some people put glue in theirs. I used to put glue in my paste. I don't anymore. I still put glue in the base of my paper mache paste for the clay that I make. But as far as strip macheing anything, I don't use the glue. I find that it's unnecessary, but if you want to use glue in there, go right ahead. You're going to need some newspaper. And depending on whether you're going to strip mache a balloon, you'll need some newspaper cut into strips like this. You will need some sort of a cardboard tube. This is going to be the base of your troll. This is a Pringles tube. I like to use these because they're already cylindrical and they're nice and sturdy. And my son loves Pringles, and so I have no shortage of Pringles canisters. You can use instant oatmeal canisters, the breadcrumb canisters. If you don't have anything like that at your disposal, you can go ahead and create your own little cylindrical tube for the base out of cardboard, not the thin flexible cardboard, but the sturdier cardboard. So that's always an option, and that's probably going to be a better option if you're wanting to do a troll that's going to be bigger than what we're going to be working on. The size of the troll that we're going to be working on in this tutorial, I'm actually going to be making two of them. One will be a little bit bigger, but mainly it's going to be about this size of this guy, and he's about 11 inches, 12 inches tall from the bottom to the tops of his little horns there. Now, if you'll notice, there's a few other items that you'll want to have as well. I have some polymer clay here. This is just Sculpey clay. It's the original Sculpey clay. It isn't anything fancy. It's going to be perfect for what you're going to need. So it's basically an oven bake polymer clay. If you want to get really fancy, you can purchase some eyeballs like these. I've used these before. You can also, if you have these little things at your disposal, these are those little decorative like stone things that people put in flower vases or whatever. Those make really great eyes. In fact, that's what I use for this guy. He just has plain black flat, you know, eyes, but that's what I used. So you can use those. And of course you can also make some round eyes, bake them in the oven with your polymer clay as well. You'll need a balloon, at least one small balloon if you're going to use the balloon for your body. And in this guy right here, that's what I used. This portion of his torso is a balloon that is strip mached, and I have a couple of them sitting here drying right now. Going back to the base, so this base right here, that's what that is right there. Can't really see it because you're not gonna use, you know, a really thick base. So I'm gonna cut this down probably till about right there. But that's what basically that's going to sit on for the body. I know that some of this right now isn't going to make a lot of sense, but I promise you it will. Just giving you a glimpse of his backside here. All of my trolls, I put little butt cheeks on them. I think it lends some interest and some more whimsical aspect to them. You can put clothes on them. We'll get into all that kind of stuff. And also you'll need, if you're going to do any kind of texturing, as you can see in here, there's some texture. Basically what I've used is a marker cap in the wet clay. But we'll get into that as we approach that step in the process for our project. And then of course you're going to need some various smoothing or sculpting tools. This is my these are my go-to tools here. They're just plastic sculpting tools, nothing special. You can use a plastic like butter knife, you can use a plastic spoon, you can use a metal spoon, anything that will help you smooth the paper mache clay once we get to the part where we're going to sculpt. And that's probably one of the last things that you'll need is eventually some paper mache clay. I do have a tutorial on my channel on how to make our Scarecrow Joe Studio paper mache clay. It's not anything special. It's been around for a while. Other people use it. But it works great. It's what I use probably 90% of the time in all of my paper mache art. To finish off your troll, you're going to need some paint, various colors of paint, whatever kind of paint or colors that you want to paint your troll. I use mostly acrylics and latex. I do not recommend any kind of oil-based paint because it takes forever to dry and it's a mess to clean up. And then of course going along those lines you're going to need some paint brushes as well. Alright, if you're going to do a smaller troll, I do not suggest using a balloon. Instead, this is what I suggest. Get some newspaper, tear them in half. You're gonna want a good stack of that. And the first thing you're gonna do is simply ball up. Keep balling up some newspaper. Add it to the ball that you've already created. I'm gonna do this a few times until I get a good sized round ball for my body. Now this, I'm doing this because the base is going to be smaller. This will be a smaller troll, and so it's, in my opinion, it's easier to do it this way than to strip mache a balloon if you're not going to do a bigger troll. And this is the same technique that you're going to do for the head portion if you want a round head. Now, if you don't want a round head, you want a square head. If you want a square head like that guy right there, that's just that. That's just another portion of that. And we'll get to that as well. All right, so I'm just going to continue to ball this up until I get the size of the body that I want. And again, it really depends on how big you want your troll. This is a great technique for smaller ones. Okay, and so once I've got it to a point where the newspaper isn't going to fit all the way around, or barely going to fit around, that's where my masking tape comes into play. And had I given this some more forethought, I would have tore off pieces of masking tape already, but I didn't. So anyway, I'm doing it like this. So I'm just applying some masking tape to hold the newspaper ball in place. You don't need a lot. There we go, just like that. Now at that point, this is where we're going to start strip machining. So I've got my paste here. I've got my ball. I'm going to dip my hands in here. This is where it gets a little messy. I'm slathering the paste all over my little newspaper ball here. And then I'm going to go ahead, take another strip of, or piece of newspaper, and do the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead, smear the paper mache paste around it. Now on the side where it's crumpled up, I'm going to take this piece of paper and I'm going to put it over that crumpled up side of this ball here, so you can see how that works. Same steps. I'm going to keep doing this. Kind of soggy. So, and because we're not going to cut this thing open or anything like that, it's just going to be this solid ball of newspaper once it dries. It doesn't have to be perfectly round or smooth. None of that's going to matter, because we're going to apply, eventually we're going to apply our paper mache clay over that, and it'll even that out and make it nice and round. Alright, so this is the size of the body that I'm going to work with. It's about the size of a softball. I'm going to set that aside. Now for the head, I'm going to do the same thing, same concept. Ball up some newspaper. Keep applying newspaper over the ball that I'm creating. This guy's going to have a round head. He's not going to have the flat head. So if you want your little troll guy to have a round head, this is the technique for it. For the smaller, well actually, even for the bigger troll, because if you're doing a bigger troll, that would probably be the size of the head. But you're going to make it to scale, however you want to make it. So here I go again. I'm going to go ahead and just smear paste all over my newspaper ball here that I've created. Get it nice and goopy. Just like that. And I'm going to apply some more newspaper. Do that a couple of times. Now on this one, because it was small, I didn't bother using masking tape to kind of hold it in place. It's just easier, I find, when you're doing this on a bigger ball of newspaper, once it gets to a point, to hold it in place with a few strips of masking tape. Anyway, there you have it. Again, doesn't matter. It does not need to be perfectly round because it's all going to be evened out in the end. So here's my body. This is going to be my head. And if you want your body even bigger than that, go ahead, add more newspaper over your ball here. If you want your head smaller, you're going to make it smaller, but this is just an example. I'm going to go with this one because I kind of like that. Also keep in mind that these are going to get bigger once you apply the paper mache clay over them. So I'm going to go ahead. That's not sticking very well. It needs to be a little wetter. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and sit these in front of a fan to dry. Sit them in front of a fan, you guys, whether you're doing a balloon for the body or newspaper balls. Sit them in front of a fan. They're going to dry a lot faster. This is going to take several days for these things to dry. Don't get impatient. You want them to dry very solid so that you have a nice sturdy structure or armature to apply your clay on. All right, so that's that for that. All right, now if you wanted a bigger troll and you want to use a balloon, you simply blow up the balloon, put it on top of some kind of platform or something that you can work around and move the balloon around. You're going to get your newspaper strips, dip them in the paste, and apply it all the way around the balloon. I would do at least 8 layers over the entire balloon. My first tutorial on how to make a paper mache jack-o'-lantern, it's the very first segment of it. I show you how to actually strip mache a balloon. So if you're a beginner and you haven't done anything like that, go back and watch that. Most of you that are going to be doing this, you've already have some paper mache experience under your belt, so you're probably already familiar with that. Anyway, that's very simple. So, drying time. What can you do while you are waiting for either your balloon or your newspaper balls to dry? Because you can't go any further until those are completely dry. Well, I would start thinking about my design. Now this one right here, this is the very first little troll guy that I've made. I call him Valentino. He's the heartthrob troll. And I made this for Yvette, my wife, who's also the creative designer for Scarecrow Joe Studio. But I made this for her a couple years ago for Valentine's Day. So anyways, as you can see, he's pretty basic, you know. There's not a whole lot going on with him. I've made other trolls. I've made a Viking Troll. I've made a Jedi Troll. I have made a Bob Ross inspired troll. And I've made a steampunk inspired troll. So there are many different types of trolls and designs that you can make. So I would start thinking about your theme. What kind of troll do you want to make? So in this tutorial, I'm going to be making two. I'm going to make another Viking troll, like something similar to the one that I showed you. And I'm also going to be making a gift for my orthodontist, because I'm at the point where hopefully within a few months I will be getting my braces off, and I want to give them a gift. So I'm going to be making them a troll about this size here, and I'm going to put some really messed up teeth in there and create braces, and that's going to be a gift for my orthodontist. So those two trolls are what I'm going to be working on and showing you the techniques in these tutorials. But you can make any kind of troll that you want. Are you going to put clothes on them? Or, you know, what kind of troll do you want to do? A firefighter troll? Do you want to do a police officer troll? A postal worker troll? You know, a nurse? I mean, anything. You could totally just, at this point, I would just encourage you to think outside the box, get very creative, write down some ideas, and we're just going to go from there. And you're going to learn some techniques, even though, you know, if you're going to make a firefighter troll, and I'm not going to be making one, you will learn, you will pick up some things that you will be able to apply in your own project. So just keep that in mind. Or you can just follow along and make a Viking troll with me, or make a basic troll that I'm going to do for my orthodontist, and you don't have to put in the braces. But anyway, that's what I would be doing. Think about your design while those are drying, and then I will see you very soon. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.